job. It's a good one. Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
It's laundry season at Owen Home Appliance Center. Tired of that washer walking out the door and having to dry a load 2 or 3 times? It's time for a new washer and dryer. Pick from brands like Maytag, GE, Whirlpool, Electrolux, and of course, Speed Queen. Try the new 2-in-1 GE Profile that washes and dries a load all in one machine. Visit the interactive location in Lacey Springs where you can try the washers and dryers before you buy them. Owen Home Appliance Center. Quality products, quality pricing, quality service. It's in the name, Owen Home Appliance Center.
Your Rocket City Trash Pandas are home for a total of 15 games in the month of April. Promotions include 4 fireworks shows, 2 bobblehead giveaways, 1 cat night, and even an appearance from Bluey to round out the month on April 27th. To get your tickets and learn more about everything going on at Toyota Field, check out TrashPandasBaseball.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
We are back. We're live and we're brand new. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond. Happy Tuesday morning, everyone. 7 o'clock. Safe travels into work, into school, wherever you may be headed on this Tuesday. But right now, 59 degrees. Your high today is expected to be 69. Going to be a little windy this morning, but nonetheless, we should see plenty of sunshine around the Tennessee Valley. What a night it was last night inside the North Hall there at the Von Braun Center. 12 new inductees inducted into the Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame. What a night it was. It is always fun to be a part of that event because you get to reconnect with a lot of people that you haven't seen in a while. And then you forget sometimes just how talented and how rich we are with talent in this area. I mean, there were some phenomenal athletes last night up on the stage being inducted into the Hall of Fame. I mean, everything from NASCAR, Indy, to NFL, to USA Track and Field. I mean, there was all kinds of athletes sitting up on that stage last night, and it was phenomenal. One of them, Jayson Swain, will join us in the second hour. Of course, Jayson former Grissom Tiger, former Tennessee Vol captain. And he was inducted last night. We'll hear from him, get his thoughts. He's now working for the Vols Radio Network. We'll get his thoughts on everything up in Nashville. ESPN college football writer Chris Lowe was there last night as well. And so we'll reconnect with him. We had a fantastic evening last night. It was great. And kudos to the Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame for putting this on. Once again, last night they awarded not one, but 2 high school scholarships, $2,500 each. So it was a fantastic night last night. 256-576-4977. If you want to join us on the show this morning, feel free to do so. I'm just sending out one thing here. There we go. Obviously, spring football has come and gone for both Alabama and Auburn. And yesterday in Tuscaloosa, the coordinators and head coach Kalen DeBoer stepped in front of the cameras, stepped in front of the mics to talk a little recap, I guess you could say, of what happened during the spring. The biggest takeaway that you could take away from what was said yesterday came from offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb. One of the first times we have gotten to hear from Ryan Grubb. And obviously he was asked 2, 3 times, 4 times, really, about the quarterback battle, about the quarterback position and everything. And I don't think what we're about to hear from him, I do not think comes as a surprise to anybody. But if you really want to know who has the lead in the quarterback room inside the Alabama football facility, here is Ryan Grubb.
We really pushed that room a lot this spring. And, I know everybody wants to know about that position and where things are at. And I would say this, at the end of the day, if we're playing a football game tomorrow, Ty Simpson would start, and he earned that. Okay. And I know that's the line everybody's looking for, but that is what he earned. Austin Mack made huge strides, and also available reps were the same, and he did a really good job. He came out and developed, just was some of the nuances and take care of the football and things like that. Thought Ty showed out a little bit better. And then honestly, Keelan exceeded my expectations. I think for a young man his age, he never gave into that opportunity. We challenged him with that. Don't give into, I'm a freshman and this and that. And he didn't. He reminds me, I say this all the time to him, and I mean it as the biggest compliment. He reminds me so much of Michael Penix, just in his demeanor. He has such a calm demeanor. Sometimes, you need to find the other edge of that and put a little bit of rush on it. But he did a great job, and he had a couple days at the end that, he wished he'd played a little bit better. But, man, I thought he made huge strides. Those guys all, Nick did a great job of managing the number of reps for guys, trying to keep the opportunity very equal. And by no means does that mean that we're playing a game tomorrow, and I think there's still a lot of work to be done. I think the message really is that, we got to be even better. And the guys, I know that they'll take that the right way and they understand those things, but essentially, we're not going to be satisfied with the quarterback room until it's how it's supposed to be. And it wasn't perfect this spring, but I thought we were trending the right way the entire time. And so the competitive spirit and the acknowledgement of each other as a competitor in that room was very mature, honestly, and it could have been very different than that. So I'm blessed to work with those guys every day. I'm fired up. We got 3 really, really good quarterbacks. Thank you, Coach.
There you go. That was Ryan Grubb talking yesterday. And as we mentioned, really, there is no surprise to what he said, saying that if there was a game today, Ty Simpson would be the starter for Alabama. Really no surprise. But he did shed a little bit more insight as to the progress of Austin Mack and Keelan Russell. That is what he kind of shed a little light into, but really no big surprise, I don't think, in those words.
Not at all, Scott. It's basically coach speak and what we expected to hear, and what we've reported and talked about here on the show. And Chris Lowe will join us here in a few minutes, and he's been down to Tuscaloosa and talked to the coaching staff, and he basically wrote that last week about Ty Simpson being ahead in the quarterback race. And I think he is, but they're not going to go ahead and name a definitive starter, but they did say that if they started a game tomorrow, he would be the guy. So it's still a competition with Austin Mack and certainly Keelan Russell. I think it's right now more a battle for the number 2 spot, and Ty Simpson will be number 1. And we'll just see what happens going into the fall. And right now, as we know, tomorrow the transfer portal opens, and we'll see, if there's movement there. I know they'd like to keep all 3 quarterbacks, but that becomes hard to do sometimes. And I know that's their goal, and they'd like to keep everybody on their roster, but there could be some portal movement. We'll see. There has been nobody declare they're going into the portal yet.
Right.
But we'll see. And certainly Kalen DeBoer also talked about maybe adding a piece or 2.
Yeah, we'll hear from Kalen here in 2 seconds about that. But Chase Goodbread asked him about the quarterback spot and said, hey, look, and he asked Coach DeBoer about, normally on a college football roster, you want to keep about 4 quarterbacks. But because of the transfer portal and everything that is right now, 3 is the magic number.
Well, 2 is for Tennessee right now.
Yeah. Yes. But 3 is hard to do right now as well, because kids don't want to stay.
No.
They're not going to stay. Back in the day, you would have 4 quarterbacks on your college roster. Now it's hard to do so. Kalen DeBoer said, hey, look, we have a few spots open, but here is Coach DeBoer on how Alabama might handle the portal.
Yeah, I think you're just always looking to find the right person that fits who you are as a program, someone who can make your team better, our roster better. So, we have just a couple scholarships really available to us. So we'll be careful, and they got to meet all those areas that we feel good about, the culture of our team, the chemistry from within, the work that's being put in. So, I like the combination of attrition and addition that we've had, whether it's high school guys coming in. 18 of our 21 guys were here, that we signed in December. And so, they aren't going to feel like freshmen this summer. And then also a few of the transfers have come in and really done a nice job blending in as well, and defining their roles more and more every single day, asking more out of them from a leadership standpoint. So we'll be super careful on what we do with the portal. There are some areas where we do know if we have the right person pop up, we would take advantage of that.
There you go. That was Kalen DeBoer yesterday on potential spots that Alabama might look at. I mean, obviously he's saying, yeah, there's probably some needs in a couple spots, but we're gonna be very picky about who we get because we only have a few spots.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I think we've kind of talked about a couple of them. Tight end, and not a lot of depth there. A lot of injuries and guys out like Josh Cuevas didn't do a whole lot in the spring. Danny Lewis did not participate at all. That's probably your top 2 tight ends. Marshall Pritchett, a freshman, also ended up getting injured. So he's another one that they like a lot. And by the end of the spring, Peter Knudsen, who's basically a graduate transfer walk-on from Weber State, it was probably their one lone tight end, and they had some other walk-ons working there, but didn't have a whole lot to work with. And Caleb Edwards, a true freshman from California, will be there in June, but finishing up school now. So adding, maybe a depth piece to tight end, especially a blocker. I know William Sanders, a redshirt freshman from Brookwood, got some work at blocking tight end. He's an offensive guard, but they needed bodies there to get in some good work. And then, of course, you have the punter situation. And I think that they would be in the market for a punter. They took a couple of one transfer, out of the portal, Dowd, and he was also the holder for kicks. He was decent in the spring at best. He's from College of Mines over in Colorado. And then they have a freshman, Alex Esperov, but he's recovering from a torn ACL his senior year in high school. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if they tried to address punter in the portal.
All right, 256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines. You can join us this morning throughout the show. Always just don't like starting the show on a down note, but we do gotta talk a little sad news and notes to pass along. Former Alabama football defensive coordinator, a football coaching icon, I guess you would call him, Bill Brother Oliver, passed away yesterday at the age of 85.
Yeah, it was first reported by Kirk McNair of Bama, Bama 247, longtime publisher of Bama Magazine and former sports information director under Coach Bryant. Knew Bill Oliver and his family very, very well. I know Bill Oliver's son let Kirk know that his father had passed, and he had been having some health issues the last several months. I know he was able to make it to a reunion recently in Tuscaloosa, which everyone was very happy to see him, of that 92 group that they honored the 1992 national champions. Yeah. And he was architect of that defense. He was one of the great defensive minds ever. He was on that short list, and you could argue he may have been the most preeminent of his era. In the he started in the early 70s, but under Coach Bryant, but in the 80s and 90s, he did an amazing job at Alabama under Coach Gene Stallings. And that 92 defense, to me, is still the best I've ever seen in my era. They led the nation in every defensive category. They played off of their offense from the standpoint it was a ground and pound unit, wasn't very explosive, but their defense was tremendous. Didn't have to blitz a lot because they had a tremendous front. They were a 3-4 defense, but they did a great job in the secondary, great job on all three levels. And Coach Bill Brother Oliver was the architect of that. His game plan against Miami to win that 92 national championship is legendary. What they did in that month to prepare for Miami in the Sugar Bowl and just dissect them and dominate them. Miami had a brief reappearance in 2001 and 2002 as a dominant program under Butch Jones, Butch Davis. Pardon me, I didn't mean to insult him, but Butch Davis, ended up rebuilding that program, but it was just never the same. I mean, Alabama kind of ended that dynasty for Miami, which from the late 70s, early 80s, where Howard Schnellenberger, former Alabama assistant, of revived it. They were a dominant program for over a decade through that 92 season, and Alabama kind of exposed them. And then again, 10 years later, Butch Davis was able to revive it. But that
was short-lived.
It was maybe it's about a 3 or 4 year run there, late 90s into early 2000s, and it apexed with that 01 team and then the 02 team. But after that, we've never really seen Miami be the same again.
And you mentioned that 92 defense for Alabama. By the way, they allowed just 55 rushing yards a game that year, and gave up just 139 passing yards a contest, and just 9.2 points per game was what they allowed in 1992. But 55 rushing yards per contest. And you think in 1992, they weren't throwing the ball around in college football like they are today. So 55 rushing yards, that is ultra impressive.
Well, Coach Spurrier came along in 90 and started changing things a little bit. And if you want to find out how respected Coach Oliver was, then just ask. Spurrier probably had the most respect for him of any defensive mind he ever went head-to-head with. He tried to hire Brother Oliver several times. Didn't work out, but they used to have some battles. And I'm telling you, it was two of the most preeminent football minds, one offensively and one defensively, on the sideline, and tremendous work. Brother, if there were a Hall of Fame for assistant coaches, he would definitely be in there because they don't do that a lot. They usually just focus on the head coach, but he was certainly one of the preeminent defensive minds in college football history.
All right, let's get our first break in of the morning. When we come back, phone lines are back open to you. 256-576-4977 is our Tuesday edition of Talkin' Ball.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The Braves roll into the 2025 season with a singular focus. Bring home the division title and remind the league what Atlanta is all about.
Swung on, driven to left center field and deep. That baby's out of here. Austin Riley. 3-0 to Olsen, and he powers one. Deep right center field to the wall. It's going to fly. It's a home run. Back-to-back homers.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Flying nonstop from Huntsville is a breeze on Breeze Airways. They're nice people flying nice people to nice places on really nice planes. Let's be direct. Nonstop from Huntsville to the places you want to go. Las Vegas, Orlando, or Tampa starting at $49. It's time for a weekend getaway or a long overdue week away. Time to check in using the convenient Breeze app and check out. What are you waiting for? Book today at flybreeze.com. That's flybreeze.com. Breeze Airways. Seriously nice.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com. Where's the best place for sports? What about the best place for wings? If you answered Jefferson's or both, you're right. Jefferson's is also a great place for value. Every Monday, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult meal, and teachers bring your teacher ID and you eat free every first Tuesday of the month up to $15. At Newmarket, Jefferson's will be opening a new location at 2190 County Road 65 very soon. Jefferson's, best place for sports, best place for wings. Hampton Cove, and soon in Newmarket.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor at Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
We aren't a winning school. We are a championship school, and we make legends. Join the Crimson Tide as they look to continue to rise to the top of the NCAA basketball mountain. Every game, all season, right here on your home for Alabama basketball, the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
There's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right. Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Happy Tuesday. By the way, do you realize we were supposed to have spring football over at Joe Davis Stadium?
Oh,
Remember
really?
the Alabama Beavers?
Oh, let me guess. They pulled the plug on it already.
The league is still going on.
Right.
But it depends who you ask. If you ask the IFA, they're going to tell you the Beavers have been expelled.
Oh.
If you ask the Alabama Beavers, they're going to tell you that they left the league due to broken promises and leadership concerns.
Wow.
So, folks, there will be
no
Alabama Beavers at Wicks Field. Yeah. Does that come as a shock?
More spring football that failed. Do they ever learn?
In a release, the Alabama Beavers say our organization has proven to be a great deal for the players, fans, and all involved. We decided to leave the IFA on April 10th of this year due to a lot of broken promises and leadership concerns. A formal email was sent to the league on that day explaining why we were making the decision to leave. We walked away willingly. Their rebuttal was sent on April 14th. They refused to communicate when we wanted to negotiate better terms for the teams and players. We do not feel as if they put the players first in many situations.
This will fail.
Yeah. Our organization has helped players get into the CFL and the UFL. We do not feel as if they share that same vision.
Well,
so there you go.
Another F. So, like I was going to a Beavers game anyway, to be honest with you. You give a rat's crap. I mean, spring football, if it's not indoor football, it isn't any good. And even that ran its course. So, adios.
Let's go out to the phone lines. Brandon is with us. Good morning, Brandon.
I know you're disappointed, Brandon. You didn't get a chance to get any Beaver gear.
That I did not. But when we went to the KFC in La Romana the other day,
yeah, did they cook Beaver?
But we were escorted by guys with machine guns and sawed-off shotguns. So
wow.
That tells you, yes.
And
we were escorted through town with a entourage.
Wow. So I was looking at the pictures you sent us, and I guess it's in pesos or whatever, but I know it looked awful, but was that like $6.89 in American? I don't know.
It's like 62 pesos to $1, I think is what the exchange rate is.
Gotcha. Right.
Yeah, they took us through town
wow.
On this little tour, and I've never seen. I mean, I felt important. I probably had more guns around me than Kay Ivy when she goes somewhere, and but we told them we wanted to go back to KFC, and we just got these funny looks.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, "Okay," and they told us to get in the van, and these two really large guys with lots of guns get in the van, and we pull up to the KFC, and they walked us in, and they walked us back out, and my son's looking, and I'm like, well, I was like, welcome to La Romana, Dominican Republic. And then after that, we went up into the jungle and played with the monkeys. And
I saw that. That was neat.
I tell you, man, the monkeys are wild. If you ever get a chance to go have a monkey experience and let them run wild inside somewhere, best thing you can ever do with your kids. They'll talk about it till the day they die.
Sound like your daughter had a great time.
Oh, we had a really great time. I enjoyed myself. But 8 days is a little long to go on a vacation and come back to. I had to be in Albertville at 6 a.m. this morning because that's how far behind I am. Oof. I've got to go from here to Ooltewah, Tennessee, so it's going to be a really long day.
Oh, yeah.
I got a friend of mine guy that played football with us. He got in a lot of trouble, but he's turned his life around.
That's good.
Kind of like Sherman.
Yeah.
And this whole Kyron Lacey situation,
it's very sad.
real close to home. And Brett will tell you, there's a point where you got to know that you don't belong in the hood no more.
Right.
And you got to separate yourself. And that's a painful thing to do growing up with people. But you have to understand when the people around you don't have your best interest anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyron Lacey was on a level that he needed to learn to let those people go. Say, I love you from a distance never should have happened. It is very, 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 very sad. And I wish that it wouldn't happen. And I keep seeing stuff like this. And I know everybody makes their own choices, but I just wish somebody could have got through to that kid and let him know, man, it's okay to just send people a text and wish them happy birthday or say something to them, but not be running around doing all this crazy stuff when you're on the verge of making the most money you ever make in your entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think the legal troubles.
Yeah.
I think those legal troubles really, I mean,
that car accident.
I think that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I'm not going to speak for how I thought he felt, but
right.
I think possibly that had a lot of weight on him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and, Pate said a little bit about it, but I also want to say something about Josh Pate. I saw his show when we got back Sunday night.
Yeah.
While I was up half the night working, trying to get caught up. And I said this to John and Joe the other day. I think that's the most he's ever had to restrain himself and the most pissed off I think I've ever seen him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was talking about I would have committed felonies. I think that whole Nico thing really pushed his buttons to a level that I've never seen him act like that before. He's usually very dry and kind of backhanded. I wonder if he had to calm himself down before he done that show. And I would love to know what he really thinks off the record, because the vitriol coming out of him, you couldn't hide how real it was.
Yeah. Well, I think
what's happening with football.
I think his feelings and his passion and the way that he came across is what a lot of people feel like.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that feel like that across the country, and Josh just has a big avenue to show it off. And I think there's a lot of people that feel like that.
He just thinks college football is leaderless, and in many respects, he's correct.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, and I talked to a coach last night that is somebody that Drew and I both know, that I know him in passing a little bit, that's been to Alabama. And he said to me directly, he said, it's hard to get mad at these kids. He said, because what Pate said is correct. He said, most of these kids are not behind the, I want more money, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. He said, it's bad parents and it's unqualified representation that are doing these things. He said, I don't believe Nico went in there and done all that.
Right.
I believe people are doing this crap on his behalf, and they're telling him to do these things. He said, that's what's causing a problem. He said, I think Nico would have stayed for $2.5 million. He said, but they keep looking around and they keep pushing it. He said, and finally, we have got some pushback. He said, before we get legislation. He said, but most of the bad actors are not the kids. He said, they're being told these things. And I guess my question would be, at what point are these schools going to refuse to do business with some of these kids that they know are being represented by some of these bad actors?
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for the phone call, bud.
Thank you, bud.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that's those are all questions. Those are all questions that a lot of people are asking. Those are questions that there's a lot of people around college football that are asking. But I'll just say this, and Josh even kind of alluded to this, I think yesterday at some point, that the college football coaches, this whole Dan Lanning situation where people believe that Dan Lanning tipped off Tennessee and said, hey, Nico is shopping around, that the college football coaches are so tired of all this happening, and they're tired of not having guardrails, that they are now just doing this themselves. They are trying to police all of this themselves so that they can try to create some kind of guardrails, since nobody else is. So, let's get a break in. When we come back, Chris Lowe going to join us. We'll talk more college football with Chris Lowe next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky. We are going to be a little bit cooler this afternoon on the backside of a cold front that moved through the Tennessee Valley late last night. Temperatures only climbing into the mid-60s this afternoon, dropping into the lower 40s as we head into the overnight early Wednesday morning. A mostly sunny sky Wednesday afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 60s, dropping into the upper 40s as we head into the overnight. A fantastic Thursday across the Tennessee Valley, maintaining the sunshine across the area. Temperatures climbing into the upper 60s, some of us looking at the low and mid 70s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, Check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
I'm here with Thomas from Talkin Heating and Air. With the temperatures going up and temperatures going down right now, now is a good time to get your heating and air system looked at. Thomas, when somebody calls, you guys answer.
That's right. The phones are staffed by us. They're manned 24/7. We're ready to come out and take care of you that day.
How do they give you guys a call?
You give us a call at 256-503-4490.
And you can find you guys on the World Wide Web at
talenthvac.com.
And now is a good time to do this because you guys are offering a special deal.
That's right. We're doing $49 tune-ups this spring. We're also doing free second opinions. We offer that year-round. Somebody comes out, they say you got a bad compressor or leaking refrigerant. Give us a call, see if we can save you some money.
Thomas from Talkin Heating and Air. Thomas, one more time, that phone number.
256-503-4490. AL certain number 21014.
This is Steve Moulton from 97.7 ESPN The Zone, and this is What's Happening. Be sure and download our app. Just search 977 ESPN in your Google Marketplace or your Apple Store, depending on your device, so you can take us wherever you might go. And you can also check out our latest zone deals. Head over to our website, 977ESPN.com. The top left banner reads, "Savings never tasted so good." Click on that, then enter in the big zone deals store for half-off zone deals of Lawler's Barbecue, Sea Salt, Carrabba's Italian Grill, Bubby's Diner, Corlejos Mexican Grill, Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, Divergence, Full Moon Barbecue, Bigfoot Little Donuts, Hickory Store Barbecue, Good Company Cafe, Apple Lane Farms, the Decatur location, and rounds of golf at Cherokee Ridge Golf Course and Gunter's Landing. And that's what's happening.
Sports Talk, 24/7, 365. Your full-time sports station.
You're doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
Is 97.7 ESPN The
Doesn't
Zone.
anyone do any work around this joint
Oh, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. We mentioned at the top of the show what a fantastic night it was last night at the Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame banquet. Always fun to be a part of the event, and it's always fun to reconnect with a lot of these athletes that I'd gotten to see or cover on the TV side, go through the high school level, the college level, and even the pro level. And Jayson Swain last night was part of that, and part of Jayson Swain being inducted. There were a lot of familiar faces coming back from Knoxville. Joey Kent was in the house last night, and our next guest was there as well.
He really was, and he's one of my favorite people. Had a chance to see him at the SEC tournament in Nashville and say hello. And he came up to North Alabama and the Huntsville in the Rocket City for that Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame annual induction. I'm getting older now. I've turned 50, so I saw Joey Kent play in high school. Tremendous athlete, and in the mid-'90s, kind of joined when Tennessee had it rolling, they were wide receiver U, and Joey became a great, great player there and ended up becoming an NFL player, certainly. And then Jayson Swain kind of followed in his footsteps at Grissom High School. Jayson helped take that Grissom program under Ronnie Massey to heights they hadn't seen since the great Larry Robinson when the school first opened, as they went to the state semifinals against a dude named Rush Probst in Hoover when I believe Jayson was a sophomore. Early in his career, he went on to just kind of redefine the wide receiver position at Grissom, still probably considered the greatest in the school's history, and went on to become a captain for the Tennessee Volunteers. And now is a part of that Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame. And our next guest, Chris Lowe, was there to document it all and to also see my great friend and mentor, Cecil Hurt, posthumously, elected to the Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame, being the Butler graduate and Huntsville native that he was. But Chris has been kind enough to join us. Good morning, Chris. How are you? You were Drew and Scott.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Just your initial thoughts and memories on Jayson Swain and certainly Joey Kent, two great players when Tennessee kind of defined the wide receiver position in college football.
Well, they were, and great guys too. I know both of them, and Joey was during that run. He was a big part of that run with Peyton Manning.
Yes.
Receiving core that Peyton threw through when he was at Tennessee, and Joey's a guy that I think when you talk to Tennessee fans about receivers and wide receiver and guys who made memorable plays, Joey's right there at the top. I mean, his touchdown catch to start the game against Alabama in '95 is one to this day. When you talk to Tennessee fans, hey, what are memorable plays? That's one, because you remember that sort of was what triggered that win for Tennessee, and Tennessee hadn't beaten Alabama forever. And then Jayson is a guy that I met Jayson when I was covering Jayson. Was in Nashville with Tennessee, and I guess Jayson came in '03 to Tennessee '04, and immediately hit it off. He was, it was fun to talk to, great player, great teammate, and we stayed in touch. And Jayson now is, I'm really proud of him, man. I kid him all the time. He's Hollywood. He's a media star in Knoxville. He's on. I said, you're on the radio and TV more than Judge Judy is on TV. Everywhere I look, you're there. And he has a great show. He's got a couple different shows actually, and he just recently was named to the new regime at the Vol Network and will be a part of their broadcasts every Saturday. So yeah, both those guys. What a credit to North Alabama and Huntsville. And I tell you what, you mentioned Cecil.
Yes.
And I'd seen the lineup of people that were going into the Hall of Fame when Jayson had invited me. And so I was really glad I could be there. I didn't get a chance to talk to his brother. His brother had a really nice speech. It was really cool to see, the video, the comments that Nick Saban made about Cecil when he passed, which tells you what he thought. I knew, having talked to Nick over the years, how much he thought of Cecil and just what a trusted confidant he had been, because Cecil was the eyes and the ears of Alabama fans everywhere. All those years he covered. I tell you, the other thing for me too, guys, was seeing Bobby Lee Hurt.
Yeah.
As an old school SEC basketball fan, Bobby Lee Hurt, and the people that didn't get to see him play and didn't get to see those Wimp Sanderson teams in the early '80s and mid '80s, man, he was a force. I mean, he's a guy. I was telling Jayson, he was doing alley oops before a lot of people were doing alley dunks. He was a guy that was just a force in the middle, and it was a lot of fun to watch him play and sort of go down memory lane a little bit last night when I saw Bobby and listened to him speak.
Yep.
Well, Chris Lowe joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, and Chris, no shortage of college football conversation right now as well. Wow. I mean, let's just start in Knoxville with everything that's gone on there in the last 72 hours. No shortage of talk.
Well, I know what you're referring to. You're referring to Nico Iamaleava. Him, how long was he on campus? What, a year and a half, I guess?
Yeah.
Not quite 2 years. And he's gone, and sort of, I guess, sadly, an example of sort of where the sport is right now off the field. I don't want to sound like one of those guys that says, hey, I hate the game, I'm not going to watch it anymore. I love the game. I mean, the product of the field is as good as it's ever been. But it just is a reminder of how chaotic the system is now. It's just broken in many different places. And, I've seen a lot of different takes from media and fans on what happened. The fact that he left is in the transfer or going to go into the transfer portal. But I think there's sort of blame to go around, really. We should never when I say we, the sport should never have gotten to this point to where there's just no uniformity and no real leadership. And, the powers that be saw this coming years and years and years ago and didn't do anything about it, kicked the can down the road. But I think when you look at it from 1,000 feet away, Tennessee and Josh Heupel did the only thing they could do.
Right.
I think we'd be in a different spot right now if Iamaleava would have not missed practice, would have gone to the spring game, and then after the spring game said, Coach, we got to sit down Sunday and Monday with the collective administration, whoever, and I want a new deal, and we need to hammer out that deal. And if we don't hammer out that deal, I'm going to the portal.
Mm-hmm.
I think the conversation would be a lot different right now. Yeah, people would have been mad had he left, or maybe Tennessee would have given him more money. I don't know. But to sort of just stage your own holdout and not show up to practice and not tell anybody, not tell teammates, ghost your teammates, your coaches, that's where I don't care whether you're Josh Heupel, whether you're Kevin DeBoer, Hugh Freeze, you got to draw a line at that point, because if you don't, then you've lost control of your team.
You really have, and you talked about Cecil Hurd being the eyes and the ears for Alabama. You're the eyes and the ears for a lot of people in the SEC. Is this something that had been rumbling on the surface or underneath that people just didn't really know about because it didn't become public until just a few days ago where he did miss practice? Is this something you'd been hearing behind the scenes, that there was some friction there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was a surprise to Tennessee that that he was looking around. And so many times now in these situations, it's not so much the player. Now, the player always, it's his career, so he's always got to take responsibility for it. I think in this case, it was more his family, his handlers, his reps that had been shopping around for a while. I mean, you go back to the winter portal, and he told them the day before it closed that he wanted a new deal. They wanted $4 million. They've been talking to schools. And then in February sometime, they reached out to Oregon. I've seen a lot of reports that Dan Lanning, I don't think Dan Lanning called, but somebody at Oregon notified Tennessee that they were shopping. I think probably more than anything, they didn't want him to go to USC. So Tennessee was well aware that he wanted more money, that had been shopping around. So, yeah, I guess it reached a boiling point there that week of the spring game, and that was their play. That was the family's play, and they might have oversold their hand a little bit, thinking that Tennessee would say, "All right, yeah, we're going to give you $4 million. We're right here on the cusp of the spring portal." Tennessee wasn't willing to go there, but the deal breaker, and I want to be clear here, it was him missing practice, and I think it had been Nico. It's hard to beat. I mean, I know a lot of people look at it, he's an easy target now. He had not really been a problem in the locker room. It's not like he was causing waves and his teammates hated him. He was quiet
kid,
kept to himself, that type of thing. But there was an incident, I think, in February where he missed the workouts, off-season workouts. So there were a few other things, to answer your question, that sort of helped get us to this point. But again, it's just, if you're going to hold out college football because you signed one deal, okay? You want another deal? Fine. That's where we are now. That's the ecosystem they created, or has been created. But you lose your teammates, you lose everybody on the staff, and you lose the fans, quite frankly.
Right.
When you say, you know what, I'm not going to show up for practice, and not only am I not going to show up, I'm not even telling anybody.
ESPN senior writer Chris Lowe joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Chris, you've had a chance to visit with several programs this spring. Couple of those, Alabama and Auburn. You had a chance to visit down there in Tuscaloosa. What was the biggest difference? What's the biggest difference in your mind in year two for Kalen DeBoer in Tuscaloosa?
I tell you, the biggest difference, I think, is on staff. Like bringing Ryan Grubb back, which is sort of his left hand. I mean, those guys go back to 2007 when they coached together. And, Kalen told me, I said, what is sort of the same thing you just asked me? And he said, well, I'm getting someone that I have so much trust and confidence in, like a Ryan Grubb, to come back. And I think you're going to see, and I think Kalen's words were a harder edge, and we needed that. Not just because Ryan is back with him, but I think in year 2, for any coach, it's easier to really sort of cement what you want to be and how you're going to run your program, especially when you're taking over for somebody like Nick, who had so much success and had done it his way for so long. And I think it was harder. In fact, I know it was harder for DeBoer to really be that guy that clamped down. And Deontay Lawson told me, he says, I really think it was tough for Coach to be a bad cop last year. Because think about it, he had to weather 2 portals. He comes in, he gets hired in the middle of the portal. Guys are leaving. Then he has another portal in the spring, and then bam, you're right into the season. So, it was a tough trend. It was a tough transition. Would have been for anybody. And I do think you'll see a more settled program, and just a program that is more. You'll see his fingerprints, I think, more on this team this year. And he said there needed to be, some changes. And I think, again, having Ryan there will help him have maybe a built-in bad cop, because I know Ryan Grubb doesn't mind being that guy at all.
Yeah, we've even heard that some players have gone on record as saying that his rant rival or exceed Nick Saban's, which really kind of took me aback. I had a real media member I trust tell me that.
Yeah, well, he's, again, and they know each other so well. They know what each other wants. I mean, Kalen, and compliment each other well, probably in that way. Because Kalen's he's intense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the misconception about him is he's sort of laid back. And no, he's intense. He's just not much of a yeller in your grill, screamer kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's more cerebral. I mean, I know there was a team meeting. I think Deontay was telling me this. It was a team meeting a couple of weeks ago where a couple of guys maybe weren't locked in the way they needed to be, and he just stopped the meeting. And it was pretty obvious, that type of thing wasn't going to be tolerated. I think you'll see more of him, as I said earlier, clamping down. Not that he didn't last year, but more of that. And I think the players, there are more players now that have played for him, guys that he brought in, guys that have now been with him for a second year, who understand exactly what his approach and his style is. And, it's just different. It's really the way he goes about coaching a football team is a lot different than Nick's. That doesn't mean it's worse. I'm not saying that. It's just different. Sometimes as a player, when you're under a guy like Saban, you get institutionalized.
Yeah.
A little bit. And so I think was all part of the transition. The big thing is they've just got to be more consistent. That's on the field. Kalen said, listen, we have got to play more consistent. We can't have games where we start poorly, and then maybe play better and then finish not as well as we need to do. He said, if you go back and look at our season last year, there was a lot of that where, either we, played really well at times, but there are other times we didn't. We got to be a much more consistent football team.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Chris, you also had a chance, and I want to get one into in regards to Auburn. You had a chance to talk to Hugh Freeze, battling all the health battles that he is going through, facing the cancer battles and fighting all that. Very candid conversation with Hugh Freeze.
He is. I think Hugh's a man of great faith, and I know he has talked about this with his family at length. His doctors are at UAB. They've consulted with the Mayo Clinic, and right now he's not going to have surgery. That's sort of the decision he's made. He said he feels well. He said, I'm not having issues, and they just want to continue to monitor it. The news he got back just recently was good news. His is a low, aggressive form of cancer in his prostate. And it's not something that they feel like it's just they got to go in right now and get. So therefore, he said, I'm just not ready to do the surgery. He said, now if I begin having problems, or there's other issues, or something shows up, then he'll reassess it. as he pointed out, he said, really the only 2 times I could have surgery as a coach would be in June or January. He said, so we've chosen not to do it this June, get through the rest of the year, the season, see where they are in January, what the doctors tell him, what the newer tests show, and they'll go from there. He's got a history in his family of prostate issues. So he was not completely caught off guard by this because he does have a family history of it. But right now he's going to sort of ride it out and coach his football team, and he likes his team. Once again, this is not his second year, but it's a year that he understands very, very clearly. It's a critical year that they need to show progress, and they got to win some close games, and they can't turn the ball over in critical situations. They got to play better, inside the red zone. They were like 8 of 17 kicking field goals last year, but they also not been that far away. When you look at their first 2 years, they've had some near misses against really good teams. They just got to be able to put it all together, and so much of that's going to hinge on Jackson Arnold being the quarterback that Hugh feels like he is, the quarterback that everybody recruited coming out of high school, and can he indeed reset and play with confidence? And I think the big thing there is playing for an offensive-minded head coach, a guy who's developed quarterbacks. And I think this is important. Hugh has won with different styles of quarterbacks. It hasn't always been the same kind of guy. You go back through his career, I know he likes Jackson's ability to extend the play. But, again, he's much like that program. He's got to prove that, he can put it together for a whole season.
Well, Chris, we really appreciate it. We know how busy your schedule is, and certainly it was an honor to have you in the Rocket City last night for our Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame induction. It's always great to catch up, and we hope we can talk to you soon, and we know we'll see you certainly at SEC Media Days coming up, but we know you're going to be continually busy even during this off season with the portal and everything else. But we thank you, and you do great work, sir.
Okay, guys. It was great to be in Huntsville. It was a terrific event last night.
Thank you for being there.
Chris.
Really appreciate you being a part of it.
All right, let's get a break in. We'll wrap up hour one.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Would you call a plumber for a root canal? The same goes for selling your timberland or farm. Choose someone who understands your property and can help you on the front end so you can capitalize on the back end. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction. As a guide, I have put many hunters in position to take a shot. It's time for you to take your shot. Let's talk about putting you in position to sell your property. Call me at 256-609-0512. Remember, Bo knows land.
It all comes back to money.
Visit our store right now at zonedeals.bigdealsmedia.net to take advantage of all the best deals in the Tennessee Valley. Or just go to our website, 977ESPN.com, and click on the Zone Deals logo to start saving right now.
Now, as to the price.
These deals won't last long, so get yours now. Zone Deals. You'll thank us later.
A man who could easily afford to buy a vowel.
Tom Abraham here for Valley Equipment Rental. You know, if you're a contractor installing fences, you need Valley Equipment Rental for augers of all sizes. And if you need a forklift to get those shingles up high on a roof, Valley Equipment has 10K lifts that reach to 56 feet. Valley also has tow-behind lifts that have a working height of 35 to 55 feet as well for power washing those two-story homes or doing whatever else you need to do. Lifts, forklifts, tow-behind lifts, 35 feet and up. They have your lift at Valley Equipment Rental. 2 locations, North and South Parkway. Valley Equipment Rental.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Welcome back. Oh, tell you what, had probably the best meal that I have had at the North Hall.
Did you?
Yes. The VBC, I tell you, they've stepped up their food game as far as catering events go there inside. I mean, it was fantastic. And at the head table, I got to sit next to Dale Palmer last night.
Another inductee, Coach. Congratulations to you.
Yep. He was a trip. He was good.
Yeah.
He was funny. Bobby Lee Hurt was Bobby Lee Hurt. It was good to he was good.
Did he have 3 plates?
No, but I tell you, it was so fun. So we were sitting up there, and it was, I guess it was roast beef is what they had with some kind of brown gravy. Fantastic little gravy on there. But 2 people down from us, to my left, Israel Raybon was right there. Now, Israel still looks like he could play in the NFL.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
I mean, this dude is great. So Dale was like, man, I'm full. So he takes some of his roast beef and puts it on a side plate, and underneath the table passes it down to Israel. So Israel could have some more food last night. But I mean, it was a fantastic night. It was great. Jeff McCorvey, bowling legend in this area. He guided Alabama A&M to a national runner-up finish in the NCAA tournament. He was inducted last night. I'm telling you, Brian Campy was inducted last night. He was part of an IndyCar team that won. So hour 2 next, Ryan Fowler.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
It's hour 2 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Big thanks, SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center. They're dedicated to providing that care that improves lives. 256-881-5151 to experience that SportsMed difference. They are the official medical providers for the Rocket City Trash Pandas, which the Rocket City Trash Pandas are underway. You can catch them over on our sister station, Talk Radio, WZZN. And then you got the UAH Chargers. They also handle the UAH Chargers as well.
Yeah.
And softball, baseball season ongoing there. Getting ready to head to the Gulf South Conference tournament. Not too many Saturdays left in the regular
it's crazy,
season.
Man, because basketball, I mean, it lasts on into early April. And by the time you really start focusing on the baseball and softball seasons, man, they're already almost qualifying. I know the softball team qualified for the Gulf South Conference tournament just this past weekend, I believe. So it's just one of those things where, it just flies by before you know it.
Well, last night, part of the Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame was they honored the late Cecil Hurt. Now, his brother, Kerry Hurt, accepted the honor on his behalf last night. There was for all the inductees, they put a little video together. Part of the video that they played last night to honor Cecil Hurt, they took the clip of Nick Saban after Cecil passed away, and they played that as part of Cecil's video last night. But nonetheless, Cecil Hurt, through all of his accomplishments, is now a member of the Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame. I know he meant a lot to you, and I know he meant a lot to our next guest.
Of course, our next guest is host of the longest running radio program in the city of Champions in Tuscaloosa, and that is The Game. I was honored to be, a part of that show yesterday, and we paid homage to Bill Brother Oliver, who, of course, passed away yesterday at the age of 85. But yes, Cecil Hurt was a regular on our next guest show, and of course, he's also a native North Alabamian. Is Ryan Fowler, a graduate of Susan Moore High School, and certainly we know Cecil Hurt meant a lot to him because Ryan grew up in this state. He attended the university. He was close to Cecil as well. You couldn't be a part of the media and not know Cecil Hurt and understand his magnitude. And yet, I think he never left. He was always answered his phone. He was never too big to help you. Certainly, he was very short and to the point. He would always just text you back, "Just call me."
Yeah,
that was classic Cecil. But certainly. It's Ryan Fowler now with us. Ryan, you're with Drew and Scott. It was great to have Cecil inducted into the Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame back in his, in his hometown of Huntsville, where he got it all started at Butler High School.
Yeah, and no doubt. Wow, I mean, you brought back a lot of great memories. I remember, Cecil going through, trials, but never did think that we would lose him like this. I thought about him during this basketball last couple of seasons because even though he was a media guy, you root for success. And we all know that he went to the University of Alabama, but that never influenced his job. He was a true professional. But I think back at Cecil, to be able to enjoy what Nate Oates has been able to create, I think it's probably the part that you miss everybody, right? I mean, there's certain things that you would have missed. The transition of Nick Saban to Kalen DeBoer, I think, fun. And I tell you, the other part that I'd love to pick his brain about is where we've allowed college football to get to, because there's very few people that had the understanding of the NCAA like Cecil Hurt. And the reason why is because he studied it, right? I mean, he went through it. He understood it. He understood the infractions, the appeal process. He understood, what it took to win cases against the NCAA or listen to them. There's so many different times, but the thing that Cecil would always do is he always took time for us up and coming media folks, right? I mean, and he did it by watching him as a role model, but he also did it, by just helping guide us, to be able to show us, to be able to say, hey, this is the way, this is the way you do it. This is the way, and he never corrected you. He just kind of guided you in a way that was indirect and, would just, take a moment to teach you a few things about, media and to understand, the responsibility we have. But no doubt, man, I miss Cecil often. And for those who don't know, he would always come to the press room and he'd bring him a book. And I mean, there's no telling what kind of book he'd be reading. It could be science fiction or it could be something, some novel, but he would bring a book and he'd slip down usually in one of the last chairs in the back of the room, and he'd observe and he'd listen, but he'd also be reading that book. And a lot of times, you'd walk up to him and, he'd look at you. I remember this one time, I guess he was deep in a novel, and I spoke to him, and Cecil was I wouldn't say short, but he was He was probably into that book.
Mhm.
And he called me later that night. He said, Ryan, I got to apologize to you. I said, what for? And he said, man, I was in that book, and I guess he didn't even realize I'd spoke to him or whatever. He had spoke, and we talked for a couple of seconds, and I don't even think he realized that. Anyway, that was him.
Classic
He was
Cecil.
apologizing. Yeah, he was apologizing, and never even realized that he was short with me, but he thought he was. And anyway, we got talking, and he just had so much history and so much love for not just the University of Alabama, but college football in general. And good to see him honored. I saw it may have been 97.7 The Zone that shared that, and a couple of days ago, and I said, man, that's pretty awesome that he's going to be going into that the Hall of Fame to be able to get more recognition, and rightfully so.
Well, Ryan, your thoughts on the lack of spring game for Alabama and the practice there on Saturday?
It was a practice. Yes. I looked at Drew DeArmond. He was to my left, and I looked at Drew, and I think it's the one time him and I hope I'm not speaking for him, but that him and I were bored inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. It was, man, I don't even know what to say. I mean, I wonder if it was Kalen DeBoer showing us that we really don't want to go to practice. I'll teach them. Yeah, I mean, because man, it was watching that for just a few hours or a few minutes. Man, I was bored to death. I'm telling you. And I might have snoozed off during the moment that everybody's talking about with the double pass. So I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I was zoned out. I was looking at my phone. All I heard was a little bit of yelling, and looked up, and at that point, the pass had already been caught. So yeah, I mean, I really, I mean, I told Drew this yesterday. Other than knowing the players know how to put their jersey on, they were all wearing cleats. That's about my biggest takeaway. That we're capable of running through a practice. There was really no contact, no tackling, and you do look at it and you say, okay, is this Kalen DeBoer's fault? No, this is college football. I mean, I saw Brad Powers put up yesterday. There was 55 spring games that were nationally televised last year.
Yes.
This year there was 14.
Really? Wow.
And next year there'll be less, because I bet you the contracts were in place. So this is not Kalen DeBoer. It is not his fault. I mean, you'd rather win in October than in April. So the college football climate has changed. But it was my good wake-up call. It was one of those that was super frustrating. Just, I guess thinking about a day of how much it means to so many people. To, and let's not forget, the local economy is based on the University of Alabama. It's based on, attendance. It's based on, people coming to games.
Mm-hmm.
Usually that's a little bit of a boost, right? I mean, this weekend is huge. Hotel industries, I bet they were empty. I mean, because Bryant-Denny Stadium was, the 10 or 15,000. So that's another part that we don't really think about. We just kind of, oh yeah, it's okay. But it's disappointing to see this wonderful A-Day. And like I said, it's not Kalen DeBoer. It's not Greg Burns' fault. This is the new college football. I hate it. I mean, I can't say it any other way. It's everything around it. The greed, the things that are happening in Tennessee, just all this around college football. I'm concerned for the sport that I love so much. And I think one of the reasons that I'm concerned is I'm not sure this model is sustainable financially, fan-wise, because I'm going to tell you what's going to drive. And this is, I'd hate to know I was an athletic director. because we may see the day, and I never thought I'd say this, we may see the day that we don't have Tide Pride donations for the privilege of buying tickets. Because we may see that demand go so low that you don't have to pay $3,000 for the privilege to buy tickets. And if that happens, this model goes to blank, because that model is the financial backbone of these college programs.
Yeah, and I thought we had Nick Kelly on yesterday, and they did a good job of mail.com just giving a before and after picture kind of last year around the same time, where I think the crowd was about 50,000. It was a good crowd for a spring game, and of course it was on television. And then
last year,
yeah.
It was actually, now they listed it. We all know they list a lot more, but it was actually 72,358.
Oh, that's what they listed. Okay, but it was a really good crowd. And then you look at this year, and I know we were all in the press box estimating. I estimated 15,000, Ryan. So
and you were nice, and you were nice,
and you were nice.
I mean, I think that was that's a fair number. I mean, but Drew was probably closer than most of us. I mean, I thought there would be 25,000.
Right.
I was, but hey, the ones who did not come, you were smart.
Yeah, I mean,
we were the dumb ones.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward. But like you said, with the lack of depth, with the transfer portal, with NIL, and I know they're going to, and if they change the portal window, maybe it has an effect. I don't know, but certainly it wasn't just Alabama that did it. Auburn did the same thing. I know Auburn estimated their crowd at 20,000. So I mean, it's just that's the way it is.
We know how they count in Lee County. So
yeah,
because really they've always had a problem with their spring game attendance. I say always for a lot of years. So yeah, I mean, it's. Did they do a practice, or did they do a scrimmage, or
they did a practice, similar thing? Alabama, yeah, I think one did an hour and a half. I think one did an hour and a half to the fans. One did an hour to the fans. I mean, it was very similar. I mean, so.
Yeah, but I just looked at just the overall. My big takeaway, not much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to look at that and say, guys, that's a championship caliber team. It's also hard to look at it and say that's not a championship caliber team. You just don't know. I mean, it's so. But the weekend, hey, Alabama baseball losing to Mississippi State, but then softball Saturday, Sunday, Monday, a big series as Patrick Murphy wins 2 out of 3 and gets the job done against number 2 Oklahoma. That was huge, and so it was a big weekend. A lot of people in town, but I bet you there was more at softball. And no, I mean, that's stupid, right? I mean, I think it was 12,000.
Yeah, they set the record for a 3-day weekend in softball, 12,000. That's, I mean, 4,000 fans per game. It's packing the Rhodes House.
But like I said, there was still buzzing, and I just hope that we make a tradition to get this A-Day back, bring back A-Day. But it's not just cable to board. It's going to have some help from the college bureaucrats that are trying to, just ignore every rule possible. Oh, you want to play for 9 years? Okay, yeah, sure. Why not? Come on in. You want to transfer 6 times? Oh, yeah. Come on in. You want to transfer in the middle season? Yeah, why not? Yeah, I mean, sounds like a plan to me. Mark Emmert, they're going to write on your tombstone, literally. The only thing that you accomplished is hiring Nick Saban LSU. That's it. Here lies a man who hired Nick Saban. I thought he was the NCAA president.
Yeah,
but he did nothing in that role that was significant. What did he do?
Well, it's so funny, Ryan, because the college football players and college players as a whole wanted the ability to move around because they felt like coaches had the ability to leave a team and they could go to wherever, they could break a contract and they could leave, they could do whatever. The coaches had all the leverage in all of this. And it was like the players wanted a little bit more. Now the players have more leverage than a coach. A player can leave whenever they want. There's nothing. The only thing an SEC player can't do is transfer to another school after the spring. But that's it. I mean, that's the only guardrail that there is. But the players have more power now than coaches.
And that's just crazy to think about. I mean, to think about where we're at in the world of college athletics, and some of my idiot liberal sports media advocated for this. And we know about name. They're embarrassed to say, but they wanted this. They wanted this. I mean, they compared. I don't even want to use the words what they compared college athletics to, because it's so ignorant, and I don't want somebody to accidentally hear me and think that I said that. But to think about where we're at in college athletics, and listen, we had people in Tuscaloosa told you how great it was. Oh, it's going to be great. I'm sitting there going, "Are you morons? I mean, are you really that stupid? I mean, are you that? I mean, are you really think that this thing?" Not let me be honest with you. I didn't see it this bad. I did not see it this bad. I mean, I thought it would get bad, but I never thought we'd have players sitting out practice and holdouts. But as I told Drew yesterday, I want to learn more about this case up in Tennessee, because anytime Tennessee's ever looked like they're the little squeaky clean, they're the little devil behind the scenes doing something to make them look squeaky clean. So I'm not saying they're not. I think they did a good thing with cutting ties. But I just wonder if they were out in front of something. If they could have been out in front of something that was not happening, maybe they were not fulfilling the contract. I'm just saying, anytime I've seen Tennessee plea with the innocent little program here that never does anything wrong, it always gives me a reason to question. Just hold on, step back, because I've seen this skit before. 25 years in the media business, I've seen it before. I've seen them pull these little stunts where, hey, we're just doing everything just perfect up here in Knoxville, Tennessee. I wouldn't carry it to Las Vegas and bet on it. So anyway.
And before we let you go, what was the reaction to LeBaron Fowler turning pro, looking like he's not going to come back? And I know basketball has become a huge part of your show because of Nate Oates and the relationship you have with him and the what he's done with the program. But it's been an interesting offseason, a lot of change on this roster in Tuscaloosa.
There has. Man, it'll be a big rebuild, right? I mean, it will be.
Four guys looks like it. Yeah, it looks like I'll have four back.
Well, I mean, but I was just looking at the guys that, when you think about the seniors you're losing with Big Cliff, Grant, Mark Sears, those guys are out of eligibility.
Youngblood,
the additions, Chris Youngblood from right here, and I talked with him the last week of the show. Last week of the season going in, he was great. I mean, he was wow, just incredible. But then you look through going into this off season, I don't know what to expect, but here's the thing. We're comparing it to what Nate Oates was able to build. Everybody's going through this.
Yes.
I mean, everybody's negotiating all these deals. So it's a new team. That's the part where I feel like the fans get ripped the most. It's not just LeBaron Fowler going to the NBA, but you don't really have a chance to build a fan, hey, that's my favorite player. That's the guy I root for. That's the jersey I buy. That's the trading car. That's the Daniel Moore print that we buy. That's, whatever. I mean, it's when you back up and you think about it, you don't really have time to do that. I mean, you don't. I mean, I had a caller calling yesterday that says, I'm a big fan of Ryan Williams, and I wanted to get his autograph, and we were talking about the line that was so long, it was longer than Caleb DeBoer. He said, but as I'm sitting there in that line, he said, I'm not really sure if he'll be here. I said, well, now hold on. I think Ryan's going to be here. But he said, what if somebody came in and offered him $5 million?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we had Richard Hendricks has said it the best. He said college basketball right now is like playing in the Euro League.
Yeah.
You got guys that they're only on 1-year contracts.
Yeah.
You don't ever really have the same roster coming back. You don't ever get attached to anything. The players don't get attached to cities. They don't get attached to anything because they know in a year they're not going to be there.
Wow. And see, that hurts the community involvement. I mean, there's just so many things. Wake up. Hey, Greg Sankey, it's time for you to be a leader too. It's time for you to quit telling us how many books you've read throughout the off season and start being an ultimate leader. It's hard. You're making good money. The NCAA's not going to do it. You got to do it.
Yeah.
Tony Pettit up at the Big Ten, you got to do it.
Yep.
The NCAA is not going to do the enforcement of these rules. You guys are the leaders of college athletics. Greg Sankey, it's on you.
Yeah.
We put it at your doormat. Somebody else is not going to do it. You got to take out the trash. Your job. We'll see how good you are.
2-6 later today. There'll be the game with Ryan Fowler. We appreciate it, sir, very much coming back on in your North Alabama. Appreciate the thought on the Crimson Tide and our great late friend Cecil Hurt.
Hey, no doubt. You guys have a great morning. Thank you guys so much.
I
Thank
thank
you.
Ryan Fowler, kind enough to spend some time with us. Let's get a break in. More news and notes.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
You don't have to go somewhere else just so you can go somewhere new. Plan your next vacation with Huntsville International Airport and Breeze Airways. Enjoy friendly, convenient, nonstop travel to some of the most exciting destinations in the U.S., including the home of iconic casinos, world-class shows, dining, and entertainment. Las Vegas. With flights starting as low as just $79, Breeze has got you covered with easy, breezy, nonstop flights to Las Vegas. Book nonstop to Las Vegas now at flybreeze.com.
Where's the best place for sports? What about the best place for wings? If you answered Jefferson's for both, you're right. Jefferson's is also a great place for value. Every Monday, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult meal, and teachers bring your teacher ID and you eat free every first Tuesday of the month up to $15. At Newmarket, Jefferson's will be opening a new location at 2190 County Road 65 very soon. Jefferson's, best place for sports, best place for wings. Hampton Cove and soon in Newmarket.
This is Steve Moulton from 97.7 ESPN The Zone with my friend Brandon Pilcher from Pilcher's Appraisals. Brandon, what exactly do you do?
Steve, I'm an appraiser. I can value a property for you if you're potentially going to sell, and that valuation could also be used to help you with your property taxes.
Thanks, Brandon. Brandon is licensed in Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia. You can contact him at 706-936-3766. Call or text.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. It's kind of funny how today's show's worked out. Today's show is reconnecting with guests that we saw last night, Huntsville Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame, but it's also pertinent to everything that we're talking about as well, too. So, I mean, it's kind of funny how everything is kind of blended together. Couple quick transfer notes that we want to get to, and you touched on it briefly there with Ryan Fowler.
Right.
2 basketball notes. Yesterday, it became official. Tahad Pettiford did put his name in the NBA draft. However, he did keep his eligibility open to return to Auburn. If he does not get what he wants, if he does not get the feedback that he wants throughout this draft process, he will indeed return to Auburn. Then yesterday, we also got the answer that we wanted to know about LeBaron Philon for Alabama, and that is, yes, he is going to put his name in the NBA draft, Drew, but it does not sound like he is keeping his eligibility open for a return to Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, he mentioned just wanting to start his pro journey, and if you looked at Alabama's basketball X account, they basically told LeBaron, "Yeah, thank you," and then go be great. So It sounds like he has decided to enter the NBA draft. He must like the feedback that his agent's gotten, and of course, he's going to start that process of preparing for the draft. Already has, I'm sure. So it was a little bit surprising that he didn't retain his college eligibility. I mean, I don't know if that can be changed or not. We will see, I guess, certainly. But it sounds as though Alabama is going to move on under the premise that he will not be back. They have 10 guys now on the roster. They need 3. I've never thought they were acting like they're going to have 15 spots. I mean, this is the NCAA and a bunch of bureaucratic BS that you're putting up with when you're talking about this settlement. So I think everybody, what you know is you have 13. And so I think they've got 3 spots left. It's certainly been frustrating the last few days. I know they were in ongoing talks with LeBaron Philon, with Darion Reed, and then with Jaron Stevenson. And I know they wanted to bring back Mo Diabate as well. None of those have worked out. So they have a lot of, spots to replace. And so I'm sure Nate Oates is a little frustrated. I don't blame him. But again, this is the world we live in. It looks like the only returnees at this point will be Aiden Holloway, Aiden Sherrill, certainly Latrell Wrightsell, and Houston Millette. And then they've got the 3 signees and the 3 portal commitments, and we'll see what else is out there. Now, another guy that they were interested in is off the board. Jaron Pierre went to SMU to play for Andy Edenfield. So he is off
Jacksonville
the board.
State point guard.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see, but certainly some holes to fill for the University of Alabama right now.
All right, let's get out there. B. Rich is with us. Good morning, B. Rich.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, fellas. Hey, I just wanted to give a quick shout out. You wouldn't think it's a busy time for sports, but it actually is a busy time.
It is. Yep.
And I don't know if anybody caught it. I certainly did. WNBA draft last night. Alabama women had 3 ladies lucky enough to get drafted. Sarah
that's a record.
Barker. Yes. Sarah Ashley Barker went in the first round, number 9 to the LA Sparks. Aaliyah Nye was the first pick of the second round to the Las Vegas Aces, and Zay Green went mid-3rd round to Washington Mystics, I want to say.
That's correct.
Yep.
Look at me getting those names right. But, just a lot of talent, getting drafted off that team. Christy Curry's doing a really good job. You always wish they would have made a little bit deeper run. But, pretty impressive to have three ladies go in the WNBA draft. So I was kind of hoping that Sarah Ashley would stay a little bit closer to this part.
Right.
But that money's not going to go near as far in Orange County as it would have if she would have stayed somewhere here. She was getting some feedback. Connecticut had picked 7 and 8. They had back-to-back picks. She was getting some feedback that they might take her there. She really liked that coach and all that. But, just a congratulations to them, and we wish them well on their journeys. And hopefully Christy's, she's stockpiling with more talent. We know Ace is going to be down there next year and all that. So excited to see them, and just wanted to give them a little shout-out. And, Drew, one more thing. I've been hard on Patrick Murphy, but I got to tip my hat to him.
Yeah.
Man, what a series. To keep Oklahoma to 1 run, and really that whole series, I think the most runs they scored in any game was 5 in that first game. So to keep an offense like Oklahoma, limited to that was pretty impressive. And I've been hard on Murphy in the program, but tip of the ball cap to them. So hey, I'll jump off, let somebody else get in. Thanks, fellas.
Yeah, and then let's not forget, in that they won game 1, did OU. They scored all 5 runs in the 7th. They were down to 3 out. So Alabama outplayed Oklahoma and deserved to win that series. And like I said, Oklahoma is a dominant program. They certainly are, I think, the 4-time defending national champions. but they're not going 50-1 or 60-2 or whatever the hell they were used to going when they were in the Bush leagues, because you're not in the Big 12 anymore. Okay, you're with the big boys and this is big lady ball. And to talk about that, these are big time softball programs up and down the league, and you're not getting any more coasting to these obscene records that they had. I mean, Texas and Oklahoma came over to the SEC, and both of them already have lost more games than I think they lost all of it last year. So you're just going to have to deal with it, and it's true competition. It's not just Texas OU and maybe Baylor or somebody or Texas Tech. This is actual competition.
All right, we got to get a break in, because when we come back, Jayson Swain will join us. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky. We are going to be a little bit cooler this afternoon on the backside of a cold front that moved through the Tennessee Valley late last night. Temperatures only climbing into the mid-60s this afternoon, dropping into the lower 40s as we head into the overnight early Wednesday morning. A mostly sunny sky Wednesday afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 60s, dropping into the upper 40s as we head into the overnight. A fantastic Thursday across the Tennessee Valley, maintaining the sunshine across the area. Temperatures climbing into the upper 60s, some of us looking at the low and mid 70s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Looks like they have cleared everything but that wreck westbound 565 at mile marker 6. That's at County Line Road. They're still showing it. Other than that one, everything's been moved out of the way. You be careful. We're going to have a lot of folks in last-minute dash mode trying to make it in this morning. Just put some extra room in there so you got somewhere to go if something does go wrong around you. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. You can make it safer for them. Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
The sound of the organ. The crack of the bat.
It is gone.
The sight of watching the ball go over the wall. And the taste of peanuts and Cracker Jacks. There's nothing like it. It's America's pastime. From the first pitch to the final out, you can hear every game right here on your home for Alabama baseball.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Is your concrete sinking? Whether it's your driveway, sidewalk, or patio, those uneven surfaces are not just ugly, they're dangerous. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They use state-of-the-art concrete lifting solutions to prevent tripping hazards, and they're the best at what they do. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Would you call a plumber for a root canal? The same goes for selling your timberland or farm. Choose someone who understands your property and can help you on the front end so you can capitalize on the back end. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction. As a guide, I have put many hunters in position to take a shot. It's time for you to take your shot. Let's talk about putting you in position to sell your property. Call me at 256-609-0512. Remember, Bo knows land.
In the Army National Guard, soldiers serve part-time and close to home.
My community means everything to me. It helped shape me into who I am today, and is where I choose to raise my own family. That's why I joined the Army National Guard. I'm proud of where I'm from, and as a soldier, I get to give back to the people that helped me succeed. The education benefits I got from serving helped me get my degree and jumpstart my career. The training and leadership skills I've gained from the Army National Guard help me every day when I teach young people, help my neighbors, and look out for my community. I know that when my neighbors need us the most, my fellow soldiers and I will be ready. My family loves it here, and my part-time service means we get to stay here.
Serve part-time in the community you live in as a proud member of the Army National Guard. Talk to your local recruiter or visit nationalguard.com. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard, aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
From Coleman to Fayetteville and all points in between.
Son, pull the hammer back. Smokey's coming at you in a plain white wrapper.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
What's happening?
What's happening is time has flown by this morning here on Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you again. Last night, had a chance to reconnect with our next guest, and that's been a theme of the show all morning. He was inducted into the Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame. Fantastic wide receiver on the high school level for the Grissom Tigers, and then went on to wear the orange and white in Knoxville and became a captain there for the Tennessee Vols. And now is, as Chris Lowe told us, he's a media icon in Knoxville.
No doubt about it, man. He kind of redefined the wide receiver position in many ways at Grissom High School, and certainly did a great job in his 4 years at Tennessee, finishing his career at Grissom in 2002. But he had a tremendous career, here in the city of Huntsville, and led Grissom to the state finals. He had a sophomore campaign in which he caught 94 balls for 1,127 yards, 17 touchdowns. And again, this was during a time when there wasn't as much spread offense. It was just starting to take hold, really. And Ronnie Massey kind of brought that from Citronelle back to his home area of Madison County High School, in the Madison County area, and taking over at Grissom and sparking that program. And certainly he also made state history, becoming the first freshman ever named All-State, as he made a huge impact at Grissom. And then he was honored last night to go in to the Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame. And it's been an honor to have him now on the show once again. We connected with him years ago at SEC Media Days when his table happened to be right next to ours.
Yes.
And I turned to my right and I said, "Hey, Wes, I think that's Jayson Swain." Really? I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna talk to him real quick." And he was just starting his radio career, but like Chris Lowe said earlier in the show,
he's become big now.
Yeah, now he's
big.
become
huge.
He's got the Swain event still 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then he and Josh Ward have their daily show on the Sports Animal 99.1. That's from 11 to 2 Central, 12 to 3 Eastern, and not to mention being a part of the Vol Radio Network. I think I covered it all. Jayson Swain with us now. Jason, you're the Drew and Scott. How are you?
Wow, what an intro, guys.
And I didn't have many notes. I mean, I did kind of take a glance at my phone, but not a whole lot sitting there. But yeah, I
mean, a digital show, the Daily Show, then you've got the Vol Radio Network. I mean, you're busy.
Yeah, it made me feel old too, because I turned 50 this past Friday. I watched you play your whole high school career. I watched you play on the hard court for Ronnie Staples too. So, and win the Huntsville City Classic. So, look, man, I've watched you a long time, and that it also means when you go into this Hall of Fame, you're 40 years old yourself. So the time flies, man.
Oh, it does. And man, I just want to thank the Hall of Fame putting on a great event last night. It meant a lot for me and my family, and all my former teammates and administrators and coaches and everyone involved. It was truly special. So just really appreciate time last night, and I'll cherish that forever.
Well, no shortage of conversation. And when I asked you if you had time to come on this morning, you were like, "Well, I guess you want to talk about Nico." I mean, there's been no shortage of conversation, or lack of conversation there in Knoxville over the past few days.
No doubt.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know Nico is the biggest story in sports outside the Masters in the last couple of days, and rightfully so. Look at what Tennessee did to get Nico a couple years ago and recruiting him, and the NCAA kind of coming after Tennessee suing the NCAA, winning, and to defend Nico because they felt like he was not only a transcendent type of player, but they felt like it was time for Tennessee to make history and do what they did for all student athletes, and to have that happen and then turn around and have Nico basically be the first kind of hold out in Tennessee, saying no, we're not going to play that, and put their foot down and him walk away. So yeah, Tennessee's kind of made some history in the last couple of months when it comes to Nico. And hey, man, when it's time to listen, football is the ultimate team game.
Yeah,
have all guys rowing in the same direction, and when you don't, it's really, really hard to be successful. It doesn't really matter how much talent that you have. And that's one thing that I learned during my time at Grissom. It doesn't matter how talented I am. I got to fall in line and do what Coach Bassey wanted me to do. And there were some times when it was hard lessons, but that's the reason why I was able to go to Knoxville and have success. But back as it relates to Nico, listen, man, it's important to have people around you that know what they're talking about, that have your best at heart. And I think this is a really good lesson for all young people. Coming behind Nico, it's going to be a good lesson for him moving forward.
And then for us too, you were on the Vol Radio Network. You follow the program so closely there of your alma mater in being having a local radio program, being a member of the media. But for us, I know they had their spring game on Saturday. For our listeners, educate us on what's left in that quarterback room too. Now that Nico is gone, we know for sure.
Yeah, two guys there. It's hard to have three quarterbacks in the room, four quarterbacks in the room like you used to have, where guys wait their turn and guys want to play now. And it's really, really hard to have a lot of guys in the quarterback room. So a true freshman, George McIntyre, comes from Nashville. He was a highly rated player. His family, they sleep, eat, breathe football. He understands it, knows it. And then you look at Jake Merklinger, who a lot of people, including myself, was wondering, why do you pick Tennessee? He came in, with Nico. I mean, the keys were given to Nico. Everyone understood that. When you look at, that deal that was the talk of college football a couple of years ago, or who's this Nico guy getting a 3-year, $8 million deal? Well, Jake Merklinger from Georgia came in the same class, but kudos to him for believing in himself, betting on himself, and so he's competed. He's looked good this spring, and he's a redshirt freshman, and it's those two guys right now. But I anticipate Josh Heupel to go to the transfer portal and bring in additional quarterback.
So Nico is getting a lot of this attention. And Jayson, you look at his numbers, a lot of people want to say there are people out there now, it's hindsight, but they start picking apart his numbers and they say, well, you know what, at the end of the day, maybe Nico wasn't as productive as we thought he was. Is that the case, or is that people just really trying to pick this apart to, just to nitpick?
Well, I think you got to have some context when you look at Nico's game. His first time appearing was in the ball game a couple of years ago against Iowa, where he ran the ball very, very well, didn't have a lot of time. And I think that was a concern definitely from B. I know Nico's camp was concerned about that. And then you look at last year where you had a lot of players that play a lot of football on the offensive line for Tennessee. But the offensive line could have been, better. I thought the wide receiver core did not do Nico a lot of favors last year as well. But at the same time, great quarterbacks, they make players around them better. Nico was able to really benefit from our offensive line and a running back in Dylan Sampson that was the offensive player of the year in the SEC, that broke the record for most touchdowns in a season in Tennessee in football history. Nico could have done a better job playing. He had the real bad play where he ran out of bounds on 4th down against Arkansas. So he had some good plays, but he had some plays to forget as well. But it's more than just the numbers. And I thought he was good. I thought he could have been better. I didn't think he was terrible. It was his first year starting. And I thought this was a great opportunity for him to jump forward and really take a jump. And watching him this spring, something felt off, guys. I have to be honest. I was at practice several times, and I was watching him, and I was watching Jake Merklinger, and I was like, man, there should be more separation here. We're talking about a guy that has pinpoint accuracy on the run, can throw it a mile, can run. He's 6'6", he can cut on the dime.
Yes.
Something is not right. And it doesn't matter how great you are. If you're mentally not into it, it's going to affect your game. And knowing what I know now with some of the negotiations that was taking place after December, there's a little bit of a report out there now that there was thought that he may not play in the playoff game because he's trying to get his deal worked. That's just crazy to me, man. It's time to play ball. It's time to win a championship, and you weren't about your deal. I mean, get your money, get paid. We all want the athlete to get paid, but there's a time and a place for the negotiation, and it's not during the season, and it damn sure ain't right before we about to play a playoff game. And so that's just crazy to me. But it makes sense now. He just mentally wasn't where he needed to be because he didn't have the right circle around him to stay focused and locked in. And I make this last point and go back to you guys. When I look at his talent, like physical tools, to me, him and Arch Manning, they're the same. Arch Manning is mobile. Arch Manning can throw it. Nico can throw it. Nico's mobile. The difference between the two is the supporting cast, the people around him, his circle. You look at Cooper Manning, you look at Eli and Peyton and Archie. Like, they had a plan for Archie the whole entire time. And they didn't allow him to do NIL early in his career because they didn't want to take the focus off the starting quarterback in Quentin Ewers. You look at Tennessee and Nico, hot mess. You got to have the focus. You got to have the right people around you to allow the player to grow and blossom, and Nico didn't have that.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to put it. Final question for us. What, now that they're having to switch to, quarterbacks at such a difficult time after spring ball, what do the expectations change for you at all heading into this year for Josh Heupel and this team coming off of a playoff run?
Oh, absolutely. It changes. I mean, Nico's a stud physically. I mean, this is special. I mean, he really is. And so I think when you don't have him, for me, I think it affects the win total by a whole game. Now, Tennessee has some money. It's like a lot of schools out there. And I think there's a lot of cool quarterbacks. And this is where we are for college athletics. You can like it, you can dislike it. It's just where we are. Tennessee has money. There's a quarterback in a Power 4 school that has an opportunity to come into Knoxville and make a whole lot of money to play the quarterback position. And so it's a very, very attractive place. Playing quarterback in Tennessee is more popular than being the governor of Tennessee. and for Nico, I don't know if he understood that. Guys that played the position before him, the Josh Dobbs, the Hendon Hookers, the Casey Clausens, the T. Martins, the list goes on and on and on. The Condris Holloway. I mean, we're talking about Condris Holloway, the first black quarterback in SEC history. T. Martin, first black quarterback to win a championship. Like, Tennessee has had great, and I mean great, quarterbacks in its history. Like, you have to understand what it takes, the gravity of being a quarterback in Tennessee. There's an opportunity that's open for a quarterback out there in the country to come here and not only play quarterback, but to cement themselves and build a legacy that will last a lifetime. Hendon Hooker did it in 2 years in Tennessee as a transfer. Yeah, so that's the opportunity out there that, unfortunately, a school may lose their quarterback, this spring to come to Tennessee, but that's where we are right now, college athletics.
How special was it last night to have guys like Joey Kent and Chris Lowe and have your family all be there to see you get inducted into the Hall of Fame?
I think Chris Lowe made the trip all the way to Huntsville just to troll me and be able to say, Man, he's Hollywood. He's a mogul. And here's the guy that broke the Nick Saban news that's on ESPN all the time.
Yeah.
And he's trying to divert the attention to me. He is big time. But it was awesome, man. Chris is someone that followed me and covered me when he worked for the Tennessean before he was with ESPN. He's someone that I lean on just because I want to do the job the right way. I want to do it the right way, be fair, and sometimes it's a balancing act when you are a former player.
Yeah.
It's easy to be biased, but at the same time, like you want to be truthful, you want to be fair, because you respect the guys that do the job and do it right. So Chris has been a great sounding board for me, someone that I depend on to get advice from. And then Joey, I mean, my goodness, we're talking about someone that's from the same neighborhood as me, that wasn't good enough to go to some schools, goes to Tennessee, and is still number one in the record books. And I mess with Joey all the time. I call him the GOAT. He always says, no, that's not me. That's Carl Pickens. But it's really hard to argue when you look at the receiving records for Tennessee and you're sitting at the top. And so we're talking about someone with the ultimate amount of class. I didn't even know he was coming.
Cool.
I talked to him earlier, in the week, but that's Joey for you. So I look up to Joey so much. How he carries himself. I mean, he's an awesome husband, awesome father, and that's more of what I'm proud that I am right now, more than all the accolades on the field. So yeah, Joey's the man.
Well, you certainly are as well. It's a special night last night. Now you're a Hall of Famer in the Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame. Continued success for the Swain event Tuesdays and Thursdays, and of course you and the Josh and Swain show. That's some good stuff there on the Sports Animal. We know Vince Farrar and a lot of those guys, and Jimmy Himes, who's semi-retired, all those guys really well. But continued success, man, and thank you for taking some time to after your show this morning to come on and reminisce and also talk some balls.
Anytime, man. Thank you for the invite. Again, I really appreciate the job that was done last night. I look forward to being back in Huntsville, and appreciate the time this morning, guys.
Thanks, Jayson.
Appreciate it.
Jayson Swain, kind enough to join us back in Knoxville, by the way.
Yeah.
He made it back to Knoxville and then joined us this morning. So, it's good break.
And lost an hour.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Would you call a plumber for a root canal? The same goes for selling your timberland or farm. Choose someone who understands your property and can help you on the front end so you can capitalize on the back end. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction. As a guide, I have put many hunters in position to take a shot. It's time for you to take your shot. Let's talk about putting you in position to sell your property. Call me at 256-609-0512. Remember, Bo knows land.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
It just works. Picture this. You're at home doing whatever it is you do. Then the power goes out. Then what? Well, at my house, life goes on. We have a Generac automatic home standby generator from Current Electrical and Generator Services. For your home security and peace of mind, get a free personal consultation on how a Generac automatic home standby generator can protect you. Current Electrical and Generator Services. Call or visit us on the web at HuntsvilleGenerators.com. You've got the power.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama.
Wow. When we had Lenny Acuff on the other day, he hinted that strongly that his son Will would come join him on the staff at Sanford, and that's going to be the case.
Yep.
Will Acuff will depart Montevallo and become an assistant for his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Second time they've worked together, because remember, Will was up at Lipscomb for a year.
Yep.
Up there, so now he's an assistant there at Sanford. So.
Following 1 year at Randolph as head coach, he was Dobo at Lipscomb, then was with Montevallo with Anthony Camara, who's doing a great job. And sorry, Steeler Mike couldn't get to you, but we hope you enjoyed all the ball talk, bro.
Paul Skeens pitched last night. That's probably why he.
No, I think he was really excited about all the ball talk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll back at it on Wednesday.
Ford Motor Company. From America, for America. Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford with a real quick quiz. Out of all the manufacturers, do you know which auto company employs the most hourly workers in America? Ford. Do you know which company assembles the most vehicles in this country? Ford. That's not just a coincidence. It's a commitment. A 120-year-old commitment to